just to confirm, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So this might not take the whole hour and a half. But what we're gonna achieve in this session is um, we will introduce Spotfire, some of the features, and then some use cases in oil and gas. So first of all, what is Spot? This is our agenda for today. We're going to talk about what is Spotfire, and then what are the steps of a data science project or like a data science project lifecycle, and then how does that align with what Spotfire provides. Some of the unique features that you can find in Spotfire, and also some use cases in energy. So, what is Spotfire? Spotfire is defined as a data science platform, which is basically industry agnostic. So it's not, let's say, focused to a specific industry. You can, if you go to their website, you can find different use cases. Some of them in finance, some of them in energy, some of them in manufacturing, pharma. But what is special about energy, being in energy for the last 15 years, is that Spotfire has a very large footprint over there. And then the reason why uh, it's because a couple of reasons. One of them is the ability to scale up with all the energy large projects. So if you're working in, let's say, drilling or reservoir engineering, you know what I'm talking about. There are big data sets over there. You need to connect to many data sources, and then you need to also perform, let's say, a lot of complex calculations. Now, you need a tool that can do all of that efficiently. Now, I mean, there are a couple of tools in the market. Uh, the question is, can they scale up the way that Spotfire can scale up, or like, do they have the let's say, the connectivity that Spotfire provides to the rest of the data sources? That's what we're gonna see today. And then I wanted to kind of like put that in a form of a data science project steps. So in terms of data science project, when you start a data science project, you start by connecting to the data. Now, after you connect the data, then you will start cleaning your data and preparing the data, and then doing some EDA, or like exploratory data analysis. Probably jointly, you will be doing some visualization, and then you will move to the modeling step if you're predicting some outputs. Now, after you've done all of that, you want to kind of share what you've reached to. So we will get to the reporting. And then after that, you might want to kind of repeat all that work, all that, let's say, workflow again, probably with different parameters, or let's say, as soon as you get new data, you want to run your prediction model on your reservoir, or like as soon as you get new data, you want to run a model that let's say, predict your formation tops, or rate of penetration, or uh, depends on what you're working on. Uh, and that's the automation in Spotfire. So starting with the data connectivity, Spotfire can connect almost to everything, as long as you know where is your data, you know what is the format of the data. You will be able to connect to almost everything, starting from static files, let's say, text file, Excel file, or CSV files, databases, also a lot of industry specific connectors. For example, Spotfire connects to SCADA, It connects to a couple of almost all the cloud providers, GCP, AWS, Azure. It connects to almost also all the databases, and then they keep also adding new connectors to their page, and these connectors are free to use, so you don't need to kind of pay anything extra to use them. And then the most recent one they've added is last file connector. And that's a very industry specific connector where you can connect to oil and gas last files directly from Spotfire. So you don't need to kind of to any data function to do that. But now the way that you kind of like do that, or like the way that you add these connectors, Spotfire comes in kind of a couple of, let's say, formats, or like a couple of deployment scenarios. You can deploy it as a standalone desktop application, or if you need more computational power, or like if you need to unlock more features, there's a server client deployment environment also. So you can choose that, and then you can deploy the connectors, or like deploy any other let's say extension they add to the product. Now let's take a look at the let's see. I have the application open. Okay. Can you see the application here? So this is the main window of the program, and then from here you can see that you can connect to almost everything. These are all the connectors that you can connect to, and then there are extra connectors, or like extra extensions that you can add to provide like more connectivity to the application. But mainly, almost all the oil and gas related formats, you can connect to them right away from here. And even if you cannot connect, you can always write a data function in Spotfire to connect to these data sources. Spotfire you can write in Python. You can also write in R. And you can use these data functions that you write in Spotfire, and you can also use all the libraries in both Python and R, since it supports Python and R natively. So whatever you can do in Python outside Spotfire, uh, in terms of like libraries and packages, you should be able to do them in Spotfire. So this is the part of the data connectivity. Now talking about the EDA, so now we let's say we got the data, we connected to the data, and then we wanted to do some data cleansing or some data transformation to prepare our data for modeling, or for, let's say, analysis, or visualization. Spotfire has this concept of data canvas, where you can bring your data and perform a couple of transformations. For example, if in here, if you want to add, let's say, a calculated column, it's a column inferred from other columns, you can simply do that using a language called custom expression language. It's kind of a similar to a Linux style language. For example, if I want to, let's say, like multiply the invoice number or like add something to the invoice number, you can simply do that by using like some of the already made kind of like data functions, and then that will bring a new column to your data set. So let's say this is new invoice, and then you will see that you had a new column here with whatever you've added, and then also the data canvas displays all what you've done, so you kind of like have a full tracking of all the transformation you've added. Now you might wonder what kind of transformations I can add, what I can do to my tables. Uh, you can take a look at data and then transform data, and then this is a list of all the stuff that you can do. For example, you can filter, you can normalize, you can pivot and pivot. These are two very important features where you convert your data from a long format or like from a wide format where you have all the variables across the tables as columns to a long format, which is basically a value and category style that you probably like you usually don't use that format when you are doing data modeling. You usually use it when you do data visualization. But let's try to like do some pivoting. So pivoting, it's basically converting all these models and kind of like melting them into two columns. So let's say we want to keep the creation dates, but we want to convert all these columns into like a category and a value style. And just to give you an idea, this is 39K rows. Um, and then now Spotfire will convert that into like a long format. Let's see what's here. Okay, yeah. And then yeah, it complains because we've created a calculated column that it's not valid anymore. So stuff like that, you can simply just delete like one of the steps that you've done before. And then now you can see that through the data canvas, you are able to browse through all the steps that you've done the transformations on your data. So for example, you started by a normal table, and then you unpivoted that table. Maybe you want to add like another step here, like a calculated column, or you want to change the data type or so. You will be able to revisit all these steps and also edit them. So if you want to remove one of the steps, if you want to keep one of the steps, you can always do that in the data canvas. So that's one of the features that the data canvas provides. It's basically a one place where you can do all the transformations on your data, track them, and also edit them. The other thing is you can also browse all your tables here. So if you have if you have more than one data table, you can browse through them, and then you can also um, kind of like do transformations on these tables. So you see how here I brought like a deviation survey to one of the wells, and we can work on this, add, let's say, calculate columns or clean up these values separately. And then you can also look at your data functions here. So if you wrote a Python data function, you can dissect the function here. So you see that the function input, the function output here, you can configure everything in these input and outputs. You can look at the function code itself. And then you can also kind of like parameterize that. So if you want let's say, the function input to be a user input. For example, if you want the well name to be entered by the user, so instead of like kind of like hard coding that, you can leave it to the user to input that. You can also choose where your input goes. If you want your input to go as, let's say, a data table in Spotfire, a CSV file, an SQL database, you can do that. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the data canvas. You can also perform your relations. So in Spotfire, they have the concept of table relations, which is basically loosely connecting data tables. So if you have, let's say, two large tables, and then these two large tables are somehow related to each other, but you don't want to join them and then create like another third giant table, you can simply create what they call a relation, which is you bring table one, and then you bring table two, and then you kind of like connect them with something common between the two. I mean, we don't have a common a connector between these two tables, but you can connect them with something common. And in this case, you ensure that these two tables are kind of like logically related in Spotfire. So you can use them in subsequent filtering or like any kind of like drill down, but you're not creating any kind of like third giant table. Now, with the data canvas, you can also add, let's say, if you want to join them instead, if you want to, let's say, join these two tables, you can simply click add columns, and then you choose what table you want to join here, and then you can configure the columns that you want to join, and then the columns that you want to bring from the new table. So it's very similar to what we do in SQL join, whether we want to perform a left join or like an inner join. That's pretty much it, what we do. Okay, and then you see that here all the kind of the dashboard is messed up because we changed the data shape, but you can simply just Control Z, and then you can go back to where you were before that. Okay, and then when it comes to visualizations, Spotfire has a very large collection of visualizations, whether those are industry-specific visualizations or general visualizations. So um, let me show you. So usually the standard set of visualizations come with Spotfire, kind of similar to what we see in most of the BI tools, but with the data science add-on in Spotfire, you simply can see a larger set of industry-specific visualizations. For example, well log, well bore mod, and then some kind of like manufacturing specific visualizations. And then these are called visualization mods or like modifications. And this is something coming from the gaming industry. It's basically if you don't see the visualizations that you're looking for, then you can create it. And you are, as let's say, as a developer, you also have the ability to, because this is open source, so you can create your own visualization mod. For example, let's take a look at some of the visualization mods that were added to Spotfire in oil and gas. So this is the well log mod. It's basically just to show. Oh, he needs to sign up. Let me see if we can learn more. Um, Yeah, so this is basically a visualization to see the well data, or like the last file data, or the wireline data. You can add it to your Spotfire dashboard. You can interact with that, and it's kind of like very similar to what we see in these petrophysics software, or like any software that can present last file or like wireline data, and it also it gives you all what you need to configure your data in the shape that this visualization accepts. And then there are a lot of examples of visualization like this. This is another example. It's called the gun barrel visualization. It's basically a way to visualize the cross section view of the well with the well bores. So if you have a let's say collection of well bores through different formations, you can view the cross section for these wells using this mod. And there are also a lot of ways to calculate the distance between the well bores. You can calculate, let's say, the angular distance. You can calculate kind of a square distance. There's a lot of freedom when it comes to calculating this interdistance between wells. And then this is another example of calculating the square distances. And then why this is important? Because imagine that you're kind of like placing a new well bore in a developed reservoir, and then you want to see whether or not you're close to one of the existing well bores or not. Uh, this is one of the ways that you can kind of like have an idea what's out there, and then where is the expected path for your well bore. And then, yeah, as I said, these are open source. So if you have something in mind, you can always go and develop your visualization mods. And we've seen a couple of examples of let's say people in different industry. They develop their own visualization mods using this open source platform. Okay, let me see. And reporting. So let's see. Okay, I think we missed modeling. Okay, so let's talk about modeling and Spotfire, and then what's out there in terms of data functions, or like in terms of functions that we can use. First of all, in Spotfire, you can simply write any data function in Python or R and use it. So if there's something in mind, if there is, let's say, a logic or like a workflow that you would like to write, and then it's not available in Spotfire, you can always write it in Python or R. So you can see this is an example. It's a very simple example of writing a data function in Spotfire, defining the input and the output of that data function. And then you can consume the input and output in this data function uh, in Spotfire almost in any way you want. Now, when it comes to the input and the output of the data function, you have a lot of flexibility on how to drive the function execution. For example, do we want a function to be triggered once we, let's say, select a part of the curve? So if we want to select a part of this curve, let's say this is, let's assume this is not oil and gas data, but let's assume this is kind of like production data, and we want to calculate a decline curve once we select a part of the curve on that part of the curve by triggering a data function. This is doable in Spotfire. And then you can also direct your, or like design your data function in a way that it stores or like it updates a data table every time it has every time it has, let's say, an input change. So every time the user select part of this existing curve, function will be triggered, decline curve will be calculated, an output table will be updated, and then you can keep also configuring subsequent actions. It just depends on the business logic that you're trying to achieve. Now, Spotfire comes with a lot of data functions that are like already made. This is like part of the data functions, uh, but you can almost find anything in terms of data science, in terms of data science actions or tasks. Let's say, let me show you what I'm talking about. So this is Spotfire Exchange. It's basically a place you can download a lot of free stuff from. And when you go to data functions, you can see there is there's a couple of pages of data functions in all areas in geoanalytics and machine learning and data preparation, mapping, approximation, and all of that. So whatever you're looking for, you'll probably have a higher chance of finding it implemented already here other than writing it yourself. Now, if you want to use any of these data functions that are already made for you, you can simply just like click on one of the functions and configure that. You can choose the table, you can choose the column that you want to do. For example, this is an example of smoothing a data column. Let's say uh, if we want to, what is this? Let me try to see what is displayed here. So we're displaying the creation date and then line amount. So let's see if we can uh, use the data function to smooth the line amount. So column, this is the table that I want to target, and then this is the column that I want to smooth. You can also pick your smoothing method. It's by default is the lowest. You can change that. These are like, you can see that these are optional, so these are like already picked up for you, and then you have also the it says that you can add the smooth column to the existing table. So this will run the lowest smoother. Okay, so uh, we have a data mismatch. This is like a sales data, but just to, yeah, this is an example of how to use the like data function to smooth some of the time series sequence. By the way, this is an example. This is like a template comes with Spotfire, so you need to kind of like adjust the data types in Spotfire before you kind of like run some data functions on that. But what I'm trying to say is there are a lot of data functions. Some of them come with Spotfire already. The other ones you can download them from the exchange, and there are also a couple of kind of analytics capabilities here. So you can do like k-mean clustering, line similarity, regression, classification, um, and then with all of that, if you cannot find what you're looking for, you can always go and then start writing a data function in Python or in R in Spotfire. So now we are at the modeling stage, and then let's say uh, we're done with the modeling. Now we want to report our findings. So we kind of like done some data cleansing. We did some exploratory data analysis, and then we wanted to report all of that. So we can take a look at the Spotfire reporting. In Spotfire reporting, this is like kind of a unique feature also. So you can prepare a PDF report, or like you can prepare a report template where you can um, where you can input or like select the visualizations that you are interested in, and then add those to your report. Now, someone might say, what is the significance of that? The significance of that is that these reports can be automated. So you can add them to like an automation job. I will talk about the automation jobs in Spotfire. You can add them to an automation job, and then everything will run automatically. Let's say you're monitoring a production facility, and then you want a report every day, 7 a.m. to be emailed to all the management that shows the last 24 hours performance of the production and maybe the next 6 hours forecast. And then you want that to be done automatically. Now, you prepare the report template using this reporting template. You add the visuals that you're interested in, and then everything it can be parameterized. So whenever, let's say, you switch, or like if you have multiple production facilities, you can also do that in one report. So you don't need to create like one report per facility. You can simply just create one report and then use that across all the facilities that you have, as long as you are able to parameterize all these changes. Now, this is a scenario uh, and using the automation along with the report. So let's say that we have a Spotfire application, or like a Spotfire dashboard, and that dashboard calculates different metrics. It calculates cost, it calculates also alarms for the last 24 hours, and also calculates performance. And I'm preparing three reports. One report, the cost report that goes to the sales, the alarming report that goes to the engineering department, and then the executive report, so like the performance report that goes to the executive team. And then, so each of these three groups, it has, let's say, it has different like set of emails, and have also like different set of, different set of emails. And also this scenario is, or like needs to be run across different groups. So we have, let's say, 6 groups here, like 6 states, and in each state we have 3 teams. So imagine the granularity that you need to go for. Now, this is all can be done easily in Spotfire automation. You can simply just parameterize all these changes. So you can parameterize the state, the team, and then the report template, and then maybe the functionality that you want to calculate. And then you can use like one, or like at least like a maximum 3 report templates, because these, let's say, 3 different templates. You can use these 3 different templates, and then you can send the report to all these groups using like a very simple workflow. Now, this is an example of the automation job builder. So you can start by adding like your steps here. So you can open an analysis, for example, and you can also create a PDF report. After creating that report, you can send an email to the team, and maybe after sending an email to the team, you want to save the analytics to the library. And then after that, you may want to kind of like send a final email, or like maybe like run a data function to clean up whatever PDF files you've created. And then after that, you want to send yourself an email that the task is completed, reports are sent, and then yeah, close that. So this is like one of the possibilities on how to use the automation in Spotfire. Okay, let me see what we have. Um, and then in addition to the visualizations, these, and then Spotfire, you have something called text areas where you can simply, let's say, add any parameters that you want to monitor here, or like add any user action. For example, if we want to add a label that shows um, um, like what department that you've choose. You may want to add, let's say, an action button that the user can click to export a report or like to make a PDF report. You can simply tie any action to like any existing action to one of these buttons, and then this is now kind of like a clickable button. Like once you click that, then you will be asked to where to save your PDF report. Um, so, and then in terms of data size, Spotfire is very capable when it comes to handling large data tables. I've seen use cases where like Spotfire is able to handle a couple of millions of records very easily with almost like none kind of like sensible delay when it comes to loading and doing calculations on the data. Okay, I think this is pretty much it for Spotfire in general. So what we talked about is we said that Spotfire is an industry agnostic tool, so it's not directed at specific industry. It's a platform that is, let's say, makes it easy for you wherever like industry you're coming from, especially in energy, to implement and then your solutions and your use cases. How do Spotfire do that? By providing a couple of elements that are, let's say, industry specific. Those are data functions, data connectors, visualizations, as we saw here. So this kind of stuff. And then deployment scenarios, they can come like in a couple of deployment scenarios. You can deploy it like in a server client style. You can deploy it in a desktop application. It just depends on your environment requirements. When it comes to data, let's say data transformation or like data modeling, it comes with a large collection of functionalities that you can use like off of the shelf, or like you can write your own transformation tool to transform the data. Visualizations, it comes with let's say a good list of visualizations and also industry specific visualizations that you can use. We also talked about reporting and how you can use reporting coupled with the automation in Spotfire to achieve your kind of like monitoring or like these kind of like repetitive tasks with the minimal interaction from you as an end user. The community, Spotfire has kind of like a very active and large community. It contains a lot of stuff that you can use, a lot of examples, a very active user base that you can ask and then get your questions answered. Yeah, that's pretty much it for Spotfire. Not sure if you have any questions, any feedback.